Hi, so we'll start with the fifth chapter, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. It's very, very meaningful for our lives since we all are into karma, and we many times mistakenly think that doing karma is karma yoga, but that's not exactly how it is. As per Bhagwat Geeta, karma yoga is when you're doing karma and at the same time you're doing yoga. You are in yoga. Yoga is like you are in yoke with the divine, the consciousness. In that situation, you are not really getting anything to yourself as the doer. You're offering everything to the God, and that's how you don't incur any sin. So let's read the chapter to get better understanding of the situation. Okay. Arjuna Vacha. Sannyasam karmanam krishna punaryogang cha sansasi yasreya etayorekang tanme bruhi sunischitam. So Arjuna asks Sri Krishna, you extol Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge, and then the yoga of action. So pray tell me, which of the two is decidedly conducive to my good? So Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, Lord says, Sannyasah karma yogascha nishreya sakaravubho tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. So Lord says the yoga of knowledge and the yoga of action both lead to the supreme bliss. Of the two, howsoever, the yoga of action, being easier of practice, is superior to the yoga of knowledge. Because we do karma all the time, it's easier for us in that way to be in yoga while we are doing our karma. While Sankhya Yoga is a little different. We'll go over Sankhya Yoga later in another chapter, but here let's go to the next verse. Gyeyah sa nitya sannyasi yona dvesti na kankshati nirdvando hi mahabaho sukhang bandhat pramuchyate. The karma yogi who neither hates nor desires should be ever considered a renoncer. For Arjuna, he who was free from the pairs of opposites is easily freed from bondage. Sankhya yogo pruthak balaha pravadanti na pandita ekam vyapsthitah samyag ubhayor vindate phalang. It is the ignorant, but not the wise, who say that Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga lead to different results. For one who is firmly established in either of them gets the fruit of both, which is the same, that is God realization. Yat sankhye hi prapyate sthanam yadogeirapi gamyate ekang sankhyang cha yogang cha yapasyati sa pasyati. The supreme state, which is reached by the Sankhya Yogi, is attained also by Karma Yogi. Therefore, he alone who sees Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga as one, as far as the results are concerned, really sees. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukhamaptu mayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadhigacchati. Without Karma Yoga, however, Sankhya Yoga, or renunciation of the doership in relation to our activities of the mind, senses, and body, is very difficult to accomplish. Whereas the Karma Yogi who keeps his mind fixed on God reaches the Brahman in no time. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. The Karma Yogi who has fully conquered his mind and mastered his senses, whose heart is pure, and who has identified himself with the self of all the beings, remains untainted even though performing his actions. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyate tattvavit pashyan shrunvan shrushan jignan asnan gachan swapnan Vasan, Swasan, Pralapan, Visurjan, Gruhnan, Unmishan, Nimishan Napi, Indriyani Indriyartheshu, Vartanta iti Dharayan. The Sankhya Yogi, however, who knows the reality of the things, must believe even though seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, drinking, walking, sleeping, breathing, speaking, answering the calls of nature, grasping, opening or closing of the eyes, that he does nothing, holding that it is the senses that are moving among their objects. ब्रह्मण्याध्याय कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन padmapatra madambhasi. He who acts offering all actions to God and shaking of attachment remains untouched by sin, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Kayena manasa buddhaya kevalerendriyerapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atmashuddhaye. The karma yogis perform their actions only with their senses, their mind, their intellect, and body as well, withdrawing the feeling of mine in respect of them and shaking of attachment, simply for the sake of self-purification. Yukta karma phalang tyaktva shantimapnoti nishtiking ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. Offering the fruits of actions to God, the karma yogi attains everlasting peace in the shape of God realization, whereas he who works with a selfish motive, being attached to the fruits of action through desire, gets tied down. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukhang vashi navadware pure dehi naiva kurvan karayan. The self-controlled Sankhya yogi, doing nothing himself and getting nothing done by others, rests happily in God, the embodiment of truth, knowledge, and bliss, mentally relegating all actions to the mention of the 9 gates, that is the body with its 9 openings. Na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srujate prabhu na karma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate. God determines not the doership nor the doing of men, nor even their contact with the fruit of actions, but it is the nature alone that functions. Nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuhu ajnane navrutam jnanam te muhyanti jantavaha. The omnipresent God does not receive the virtues or the sin of anyone. Knowledge is enveloped by ignorance. Hence, it is that human beings, are constantly falling a prey of delusion. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yeshang nashitam atmanah tesham aditya vajajnanam prakashayati tatparang. In the case, however, to those whose said ignorance has been set aside by true knowledge of God, that wisdom, shining like the sun, reveals the Supreme. Tad buddhayaha tadatmanaha tannishtaha tatparayanaha gacchantya upanaravrutting jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. Those whose mind and intellect are wholly merged in the divine, who remain constantly established in identity with the divine and have finally become one with him, their sins, being wiped out by wisdom, reach the state whence there is no return. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini sunichaiva swapakecha panditaha samadarshinaha. The wise look with the same eye on a brahmana endowed with learning and culture, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a pariha too. Yehaiva tejitah sarko yeshang samye sthitang manaha nirtoshang hi samang brahma tasmad brahmani te sthitaha. Even here in the mortal plane, conquered by those whose mind is established in unity, since the Absolute is untouched by evil. The Absolute is untouched by evil and knows no distinction. Hence, they are established in the eternal. न प्रहृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धि स्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः. He who, with reason firm and free from doubt, rejoices not on obtaining what is pleasant and does not feel perturbed on meeting with unpleasant, that knower of Brahma lives eternally in identity with the Brahma. Brahma parsheshva saktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukhamakshaya manshrute. He whose mind remains unattached to sense objects derives through meditation the sattvika joy which dwells in the mind. Then that yogi, having completely identified himself through meditation with Brahman, enjoys the eternal bliss. Ye hi sansparja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So the pleasures which are born of sense contacts are verily a source of suffering only, though appearing very enjoyable to the worldly-minded people, because they are not permanent. They have a beginning and they have an end. They come and they go. Arjuna, it is for this reason that a wise man does not indulge in them. Saknoti heva yashodhum praksharira vimokshanat kamakrodhod bhavang vegam sayukta sa sukhi naraha. He alone, who is able to stand in this very life before casting off his body the urges of lust and anger, is a yogi, and he alone is a happy man. Yonto sukhantararatmastatha antarjyotireva vyaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutodhigacchati. He who is happy within himself enjoys within himself the delight of the soul, and even so is illumined by the inner light, the light of the soul. Such a yogi, the Sankhya yogi, identified with Brahman, attains Brahman, who is all peace. Labhante brahma nirvanam mrushayah china kalmashaha chinnadvedha yatatmanaha sarvabhuta hiterataha. The seers whose sins have been wiped out, whose doubts have been dispelled by knowledge, whose disciplined mind is firmly established in God, and who are actively engaged in the service of all human beings, attain Brahma, who is all peace. Kama krodha vyuktanang yatinang yatachetasang abhito brahma nirvanang vartate viditatmanang. To those wise men who are free from lust and anger, who have subdued their mind and have realized God, Brahman, the abode of eternal peace, is present all around, because everything you see everywhere, living, non-living, is Brahman only. So there is no way you can lose sight of Brahman. Sparsan krutva bahirbahyas chakshu chaivantare bhruvo pranapano samo krutva nasabhyantara charino yatendriya manobuddhi munir moksha parayanaha vigatecha bhayakrodho ya sada mukta eva saha. Shutting out all thoughts of external enjoyments with a gaze fixed on the space between the eyebrows, having regulated the prana, the outgoing, and the apana, the ingoing breaths flowing within the nostrils, he who has brought his senses, mind, and intellect under control, such a contemplative soul, intent on liberation and free from desire, fear, and anger, is ever liberated. Bhoktarang yajna tapasang sarvaloka maheshwarang sruhudang sarvabhutanang gyantva mang shanti mruchyati. Having known me in reality as the enjoyer of all sacrifices, like knowing God, as the enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all the worlds, and the disinterested friend of all beings, my devotee attains peace. Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagwat Geeta Supnisatsu Brahma Vidyayan Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Karma Sannyasa Yoga Nama Panchomodhyayah. Hari Om Tatsat. So after we end reading a chapter, we always again praise the Lord. Gita Mahatmya. Gita Shastra Midang Punyang Ya Pathet Prayatah Puman Vishnu Padma Vyapnoti Bhaisoka Divarjitah Gitathana Silasya Pranayam Parasya Cha Naivasantihi Papani Purvajanma Kritani Cha Malanirmochanang Pongsang Jalasnanang Dine Dine Sakrit Gitam Bhasisnanang Sansara Malanasanang Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimannehi Shastra Vistrehi या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिश्रिता भारतामृतसर्वस्वं विष्णोर्वक्रद्विनिश्रितं गीता गङ्गोदकं पीत्वा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सर्व उपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकीपुत्र गीतमेको देवो देवकीपुत्र एव एको मन्त्र तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दं माधवं बंसीधरं स्तोत्रधरं नमामि मनोहरं मोहहरं च कृष्णं मालाधरं धर्मधुरन्धरं पार्थस्य सारथ्यकरं च देवं कर्तव्यदीक्षां च समत्वशिक्ष्यां च ज्ञानस्य भिक्ष्यां शरणागतिं च करोति दूरं पथिविघ्नबाधां ददाति शीघ्रं परमात्मसिद्धिं ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः. Stay blessed. Bye for now.